Hi, and welcome to the Interaxis YouTube channel, interaxis.io. Today we're going to talk about something that's really important, the on and off ramps. We talk about this a lot on Twitter, Telegram, whatever it might be, the on and off ramps. What the on and off ramps are in the decentralized world is this idea that at some point I have some sort of fiat currency, right? So I might have US dollars and I need to convert it to some other crypto, right? So this might be Bitcoin, it might be ETH, it might be DAI, whatever it is. All that we've talked about in all these DeFi videos and everyone online, in order to do that, you at some point have to get your fiat currency into cryptocurrency. And this, again, might be ETH or DAI in order to really use a lot of the decentralized finance tools that are out there. Bitcoin, let's say if you're just kind of trying to hold Bitcoin or trying to go to one of the lenders that own Bitcoin. So the deal is, how do I get from my fiat currency into my cryptocurrency? These are the on ramps. The off ramps are, let's say I have cryptocurrency and I want to get back to US dollars. What are the off ramps? How do I get from Bitcoin or ETH or DAI, maybe something I've earned, maybe I've earned by staking or lending or whatever, and I go, okay, now I actually have to get back into dollars. I have to pay my bills, right? So I need to get back there. So the on and off ramps here and here is one of the major issues we have in terms of massive adoption, right? Because still we in the US, for instance, have to get from dollars to crypto, do everything fun we want to do in DeFi, and back into dollars. It's not horribly difficult, but it's just something that is having some issues, and it's causing us to not have the adoption that we've seen like we would like to see. So what are the problems here? Well, if I have my... let's just say for us in the developed world, right? I have my bank account that has my US dollars in it, all right? And then here is this whole world of DeFi, right? Here's where I can do all the cool things I want to do. I can take out I can make a loan, I can deposit and make a loan, I can stake, I can use some of the cool new tools like DeFi Zaps. I can get insurance within here if I want to. I can use synthetics. I can trade, right? I can have portfolio management. I can do all those things. But in order to do that, I have to convert my dollars into ETH or into DAI for the most part, right? How do I do that? Well, the problem here in the States is I'm going to somehow have to link my bank account to the cryptocurrency world. The way I can do it here, the kind of centralized way that it can be done is there are services, companies like Coinbase, which is one that I've used. There's Wire, Cash App is doing it. So these are ways that I can connect my bank account, and through my bank account I can buy cryptocurrency. Now the issue here is these services right here are going to make me go through some sort of KYC, AML, right? They're going to make sure that I am who I say I am, and they have to make sure that I'm the owner of this bank account, right? So I'm going to have to jump through some hoops with the bank, because the bank they know full well that if they allow me to put $1,000 into Coinbase to buy ETH or DAI or Bitcoin, and somehow my account has been hacked and that's not actually me, we're not going to be able to get that money back, right? Once it's in the crypto world and the decentralized finance world, it's really hard to get that money back. So the banks know that, so they're putting some strict limits, and they're really watching the money that's flowing in and out from the bank to someplace like Coinbase or Wire or Cash App that's allowing me to buy Bitcoin or buy ETH. So I'm going to have to go through some sort of KYC, AML with someone like Coinbase or Cash App or Wire. Some of these, like Wire, I saw was actually connected to Outlet Finance. They're connected to some other wallets I know. So I actually got an outlet finance wallet, and I'm using Wire to try to buy cryptocurrency and just to play around with it and see how it works. There are some other wallets I've used where you connect various other services that are able to take my fiat currency and convert it into cryptocurrency, but they're all going to go through the same issues, right? I'm going to have to take a picture of myself, my driver's license and everything, and this is for security and safety. It's to comply with regulations. It's to make sure that I am who I say I am, that I own this bank account. So it's a lot of security and safety that we've seen built up in the banks, and the reason why we've outsourced that security and safety and insurance and everything to the banks is because they're keeping watch over us. There's also some regulation there, right? Because the government has said, hey, we want to make sure that you are this person who has this bank account, and as you are converting this money into some sort of cryptocurrency that we as the government can no longer really track, we want to make sure you're doing it for okay purposes. So we're going to get your driver's license and everything else. We're going to make sure you're not, funding, drugs or weapons or terrorists or whatever else. We're going to watch this transaction, at least from the point that it goes from dollars to cryptocurrency, and usually sitting in some of these, it's Coinbase is very bank-like, right? So the government kind of has some purview there. Now, once I get it into my own wallet that I might custody, now the government doesn't have a whole lot of say. Like they can't really look at it at that point, but they're going to look as much as they can and understand what I'm doing to get my dollars, my fiat currency into the DeFi space, all right? Once it's in here, I can do whatever I want, right? I might have my own Ether wallet. I might have MetaMask or Argent or Outlet Finance or one of the others, and then I can make loans and everything else, and it's no longer really, well, it's a gray area as to whether or not it's in the purview of the government, right? Now I have to do off-ramps, right? So in this case, it might go back the other direction. So if I need to pay someone, if I need to pay my rent, or I need to pay my mortgage, I need to pay for my car, or whatever, and I've earned some money here, I now have to convert back to my bank, and then from there I can write a check. So I might have to go back to my bank account, right? Go back to US dollars, and then I can pay bills. Right, so that's what I have to do now. Now there's fees associated here, right? This takes a fee. This takes a fee. Everything in here takes a fee. And next thing you know, I have to sit back and go, did I really help myself? Between fees here, the time, the friction, like this adds a whole lot of friction, and the whole point of decentralized finance is I don't want a lot of friction, right? So are there other on-ramps right now? Well, the original on-ramp, it's funny, because the original easy on-ramp was mining, all right? So the whole idea of Bitcoin from the beginning was I receive Bitcoin by virtue of being a miner. So I can, if I want to, yes, at some point I have to have dollars or fiat or something, and I have to buy a miner. And by virtue of being a miner, I might be rewarded in Bitcoin. I can mine Ether, whatever I want. And this now is already in the DeFi ecosystem. Okay, I might be mining, I might be going straight into my own wallet, and then I'm in the decentralized finance system, and I can go on with the lending and everything else. Then still though, if I want to pay bills, I still have to go back to fiat here. So then we still have the off-ramp problem, potentially fees, potentially friction, potentially someone like, I might have to go put my money from this wallet into Coinbase, into my bank account. So now you have multiple hops, and then there's the government again, watching what I'm doing, and they're going, wait a minute. You didn't put money into Coinbase to buy Bitcoin, but you're pulling Bitcoin out from some other wallet into Coinbase into dollars. Where'd you get that to begin with? We might want to tax that, right? So that can cause some fees and frictions. What other on and off ramps are there? Well, early on, in the kind of the early days of Bitcoin, before there were exchanges, before Coinbase and everything, there was something called local Bitcoins, right? Where you could, there was a website, local Bitcoins. localcrypto.com. There was a local Ethereum or localether.com. Now I think it's just called localcrypto.com. It's basically a peer-to-peer exchange, right? So I can find someone. I can go on here and it's a marketplace. Someone might say, look, I have 2 Bitcoin for sale. And I say, oh, okay, I need to buy one. We can meet up if we want. Like we can actually do this in an alley or coffee shop or whatever, right? And this is true peer-to-peer where I can bring my dollars or whatever fiat currency I want, and they're going to give me Bitcoin, right? And they might send it to my wallet. We might sit right there while we're having coffee, and when we order coffee, they send the Bitcoin from their wallet to my wallet. Once I see the transaction go through, all right, here's your cash, right? We've made this exchange. This can actually happen, right? We don't need to have a bank involved. We don't need to have money electronically, my fiat electronically going back and forth. I can literally hand them dollars. And, I'm pretty sure a lot of miners have done this where they've just offloaded their Bitcoin for cash, potentially. So that's another way to do it, because you have people that have Bitcoin. They might have gotten it from mining. They might have gotten it from some other source. Now, why is this still extremely important? This is one of the still one of the biggest ways and one of the better ways that people can actually purchase and get into the cryptocurrency universe, because again, I've said this many times in these videos, in the developed world we're kind of spoiled here, right? Because our currency is relatively stable, our banks are pretty stable, we really trust them. But imagine being in a country, and maybe some of you are watching this from a country where you're not so sure of your banks and you're not so sure of your government's ability to maintain the value of your currency, right? Now, that's where you might have whatever your fiat currency is, and you want to get it into some sort of crypto, and your reasoning might be like, look, I'm in Argentina, our peso is being devalued by 50, 60, 70%. I got to get out of this. But the government says, hey, you can't buy dollars. We're not going to let you buy too many dollars a day because then we're going to lose all of our currency. Well, you might need to meet up with someone. You might somehow have to meet up with someone who has Bitcoin or have Ether or something, and literally just give them the money through this peer-to-peer exchange, and they're going to give you crypto, right? So if you're in some, again, a country that is having inflation issues, or is developing, or is having bank issues or something, you don't trust that, you can go to a peer-to-peer exchange, you can get crypto in exchange for fiat, and you can actually watch the crypto. You can look at the transaction on-chain. You can look at on-chain data and watch your transaction go. And once the transaction goes where this person has given you crypto, you then hand them fiat currency. It doesn't go through the banks. The government can't really watch it or anything. And so for people in those countries, it's really important. You still have the issue with the off-ramp, right? Because you have to go back to fiat to be able to, again, pay bills. Basically fund your life, because most people in your country probably won't accept cryptocurrency. So how is this changing? What do we think is going on here? Because eventually we want this adoption where we can utilize more decentralized finance. Well, what we're seeing is the on-ramp is not necessarily anymore the fact that I have this bank account, right? The on-ramp might in the future just be work, right? And I get paid my salary or my fee or whatever it is in, we'll call it DAI. And there's a great video, I'll link to it. It's a kind of a talk at, I forget which ETH meetup it was, but there's a great talk about a gentleman who's using DAI, who's basically subsisting on cryptocurrency because he gets paid in DAI. Now, he works for Maker, that really helps, right? But he gets paid in DAI. So the on-ramp is the fact that he just worked. He never had to go from fiat to cryptocurrency. Once he's in DAI, he's in the DeFi world. He can do with it whatever he needs to. He just has an issue with the off-ramp, right? And he just has to use the off-ramps to pay bills and such. But in the meantime, as the off-ramp and he goes to the Argentine peso, as this is being devalued, he's not necessarily being devalued, right? Because his money is locked up here, and then he can go pay his bills. Or his bills, like your rent doesn't go up. The price of your rent doesn't go up because of deflation of the peso, right? You can lock that in for 12, 24, 36 months potentially. So the nice thing is he's not subject to this deflation, because what he's doing is he's working, getting paid in DAI, which is pegged to the US dollar. And in his country, he can't go buy that many dollars, right? So this is actually a really good system. More and more of this is happening. We saw recently where Uber is going to start doing Uber Pay. Right, so they're essentially going to pay their people in either their own cryptocurrency or something, but it's going to go straight to some sort of digital wallet. They're already going to be online. Their money is already essentially going to be online. Jack Dorsey at Square has talked about getting so many people in Africa especially into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin because it's better than their home currency, which might be wildly changing in value. Their banks might be going out of business. They might totally change their currency one day, and everything you have is completely worthless. There are companies, I know Upwork, where I actually use Upwork to get some contract workers, and eventually they might be cryptocurrency based. And part of that is because I don't want the fees and the friction and everything that goes into, say, credit card processing, right? I gave the example of where I went and bought a Christmas tree recently, and I ended up having to pay an extra 4.5% just to use my credit card. And I thought, that's silly. I could have just paid these people in DAI, and it wouldn't have cost them that much, and they wouldn't have passed on that extra cost to me. So more and more, we're going to see people actually earning money in cryptocurrency, because not only is it frictionless, or the fees really low, it's very easy to administer, but you can also get such small denominations, right? Bitcoin can go down 8 decimal places. Ethereum can go several decimal places. So it makes it very easy, frictionless. What you'll also see is as I make investments, my on-ramp might be my investment, right? Because I might invest in real estate, and I do it through a security token. And the security token, just to make it easy, they might pay me in DAI to the security token, which is sitting in my wallet. Now, if I'm not really a crypto person, I might have something set up to where it automatically converts that back to fiat currency so I can have it. But I might go, look, I just want to keep it in the wallet, and then I'm already in the DeFi world. That might be the on-ramp. Okay, but right now the on-ramps and the off-ramps are tough because people aren't necessarily getting paid yet. Not that many people are getting paid yet in crypto or in some sort of digital currency. The other big switch will happen when I can go from here to paying for goods or services or whatever without having to get on the off-ramp. And that's when companies start accepting cryptocurrency, start accepting either Ether or more likely some stable coin like DAI to pay for goods. So there are obviously a lot of companies that are working on that are working on almost replacing the Visa and MasterCard system with some sort of crypto system, because it might be less expensive for the retailers. It might be less expensive for everyone to just, for me to go, okay, I've worked, I've earned my DAI, it's sitting in this wallet, and I can go pay for my coffee, I can pay my rent potentially, whatever it might be, in cryptocurrency, and then I'm in this system the whole time. And there's no need for an off-ramp, there's no need for an on-ramp. By virtue of the fact that I worked, I got paid in cryptocurrency, and then I can pay my bills, I can pay whatever else in that same cryptocurrency. Because of that, I can automate so much more in here. Now the problem is, the government isn't going to have a lot of oversight here. They're not going to necessarily know what I'm doing. I can do all this in a wallet where I'm the custodian of it, and the government can't really look at all that. So they're going to have a say in that. But this is going to happen. There's going to be more companies paying their people in cryptocurrency. There's more people getting paid in cryptocurrency. It would be great if I could get paid in crypto and I can pay my contract people, like I said, that are on Upwork and elsewhere. If I could just pay them in DAI, that would make my life so much easier, because I wouldn't have to attach a credit card. We wouldn't have that kind of security issue. When the work is done, I can then pay them in crypto. We could have a smart contract that says as work is being completed, they're getting paid continuously. That would be much easier. But anyway, the on and the off ramps are a big issue because that is where there's a lot of fees, there's a lot of friction, there's a lot of government oversight, all the things that cryptocurrency, that decentralized finance, that decentralized ledgers were supposed to get out of the system has been brought back in as first tokens and cryptocurrency were seen as asset classes, and now we see DeFi. We still have the issue with the on and the off ramps, but hopefully that's starting to get a little better as companies start realizing the efficiencies they can gain by paying people in crypto, and then the efficiencies that can be had by being able to pay for goods and services in crypto. So again, I hope you liked the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Find us. Interaxis.io is our website. At Interaxis8 is where we are on Twitter. info@interaxis.io if you like the videos, if you don't like the videos, or if there's something you want to see, if you have questions. And we hope to see you on the next one.